Hi, it's Lucy, and today I'm going to be doing a tier ranking of Time Magazine's 100 Best Fantasy Books. So in my last tier ranking video, I was like, oh, tier rankings are tired now, nobody cares about them, and then that video did slightly better than expected. So, as any good YouTuber, I am now going to beat the trend into the ground. Just kidding, but I am planning to do at least one more of these. But anyway, Time Magazine's 100 Best Fantasy Books caused quite a stir across the booktube community, specifically in the fantasy section. I'm not super into the fantasy section of booktube. I read fantasy books. I'm probably not the most well-read across fantasy, I'm just being honest, but I still wanted to do this because I thought it would be fun. And then I went to go download 100 pictures of books to put it in the tier maker, and then I was like, maybe this is not as fun as I thought. But anyway, I did do that, so now I have to film the video. Just a little, I guess, disclaimer or whatever. Like I said, I haven't read every fantasy book. I've read around a fifth of the list, which I feel like is enough for me to rank it. And I've obviously heard of a lot of the books as well, so I'm going to be ranking on that as well. We'll get into the tiers in a second. So obviously I'm not the authority on fantasy. This is all just my opinion on certain books. I just wanted to get that out of the way. The list as a whole, and like the reason that it made kind of a stir is because, you know, it's titled the 100 Best Books, and a lot of people were left out. A lot of people seemed like they were overrepresented. Basically, Time said that they approached a bunch of fantasy authors and asked them basically to nominate books for the list, and then the authors narrowed it down to 250. And then the Time magazine team, like people who actually write for the magazine, then narrowed those down to 100. It is very interesting having that in your head, seeing all the books on the list. We'll get into that. The authors who were approached for this did not nominate their own books, but being on a panel like that, it does seem like you feel like internal pressure, I guess, because, you know, those are your friends or like people you're working with. It definitely happened that the other panelists nominated the other panelists, because every single panelist has a book on this list. Not that I'm saying that those authors aren't very prolific authors. It's just a little too much to be a coincidence. But yeah, we'll get into it when we get to those books. I think that's it for the intro. Without further ado, let's get into ranking the books. I'm going to be a little small thing in the corner. I also zoomed in so you can see my face better, even though I'm a little thing in the corner, but you know. So the tiers that we have, I put agree, which means that I agree with the list. I agree that it should be on the list. I get it, which means that either I read it, I wouldn't necessarily put it on my 100 best fantasy books, but I get why it's on the list. Or I didn't read it, but I've heard enough about it that I also get why it's on the list. I don't get it, which is self-explanatory. I just don't get why it's on the list. Girl, what? Which means, girl, what? Why would you know this is not it. And then didn't read, haven't heard of it, which is also self-explanatory. I haven't read it and or I haven't heard of it enough to really rank it in any of the other ones. So let's go. We'll see if this is worth it. I feel like a lot of these are probably going to be in that last one, but I still want to do this for funsies. First we have Taigana by Guy Gavriel Kay. This one I'm going to put in didn't read, haven't read. I have heard of Guy Gavriel Kay and I've heard of this book, but I don't know enough about it. I don't know about people's perspectives on it to really have any kind of opinion on it. Outlander, I'm going to put in I don't get it. This is another book that I haven't read, but from what I've seen, what I've heard, a lot of people consider this more to be a historical fiction rather than fantasy. And I know that it has the speculative element of like time travel, but I think that's the only thing. And to me, time travel is more sci-fi than fantasy. That's just me though. So I don't feel like this would belong on a best fantasy list, just because I feel like maybe a book on that list should be more clearly fantasy. Next we have The Golden Compass by Philip Pullman. I'm gonna put it in I get it. This was, I don't know if it was a worldwide phenomenon. I don't think I read it as it was coming out. I read it after. I don't know when this book came out. This book came out the year before I was born, so I definitely did not read it as it was coming out. But I did read it. To me, it was not the best book in the series, but I get why it's on the list because it is the first book in the series and it is very widely popular, and it's now an HBO show that I haven't watched and I'm probably not going to watch because I didn't like how the series ended. Next, to go along with that, we have The Subtle Knife, also by Philip Pullman. It's the second book in this trilogy. I'm putting this in agree because I agree. To me, this was the best book in the trilogy, and like I just said, I get why any of the books in the trilogy would be on this list, so I agree. Next, we have Good Omens by Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett. I agree also. I have read this, and I really, really enjoyed it. It takes two powerhouse fantasy authors and puts them in one great book. I totally get why it would be on the list. Next, we have A Stranger in Alandria, which I haven't read and I haven't heard of it. Next, we have The Fellowship of the Ring, which I get it, but we'll talk about this when we get to the other Lord of the Rings books, because spoiler alert, they're all on this list. Technically, they're one book, so I feel like they should have just put the Lord of the Rings on the list and then leave 2 more spots for other books and other authors. Like, it's so weird to me how many books on this list are repeats from certain authors. The Song of Achilles, I get it, I don't get it, I don't know. I did not realize how popular it was, but apparently it's very popular. I haven't read it, I have heard of it, I've heard mixed things on it, so I'm just gonna put it in didn't read, haven't heard of it, because I haven't read it and I just haven't heard enough. A Wizard of Earthsea by Ursula K. Le Guin. I don't know how to say her last name. This one I get it, I haven't read it, but I get it. This is definitely a fantasy that a lot of people love. A lot of people get introduced to fantasy through this book. The Tombs of Achewan, I have not read it, and I haven't heard of it before this. Alana, I also haven't read it. Next we have Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman. I get it, I agree. I don't know if I agree. I get it, because once again, it's by Neil Gaiman. And I think this one is okay because the other book with Neil Gaiman also has Terry Pratchett, and I feel like part of what makes it so good is that it's by 2 authors who are so important in the fantasy world. Yeah, I think Neverwhere goes, and I get it. I get why it's on the list. Mary Poppins, I also get it. I haven't read Mary Poppins. I have seen the movie. It is so far up pop culture that I get why. The thing is, this list isn't most influential fantasy books or most popular fantasy books. It is best, which I feel like should be based on the writing and like only the things in the book. Like, I don't know if I should be considering how like the books were then taken on by its fans and other people who have read it, because it's supposed to be best. Most influential books, like I definitely see how a lot of these came on it, but I don't know. Anyway, I haven't read Mary Poppins, and I've honestly never heard anything about the book, to be honest, but I get it. I was trying to say that a book's writing should be considered as well as a book's influence and popularity, which to me wasn't apparent in the choice of books. Angel Fall by Susan E. I don't get it. I did not realize how popular this book is. It has like over 100,000 reviews on Goodreads, which is like a lot of reviews. But I still don't get it because I've heard medium things. Like, I've heard it's very good for a paranormal fantasy being released around the time of Twilight. So in context, it's very good, but like in context of all these other books, I don't know how it would fare, but also I haven't read it, so I don't know. The Name of the Wind, I get it. This one, all anyone talks about is the writing, how phantasmical it is. I just made up that word. Congratulations to me. The Wrath in the Dawn by Renee Audier. I don't get it. I have read this. I don't get it. The Grace Kings, haven't read. Wall Storms, I also haven't read. The 5th Season, I agree. I have read it. I enjoyed it immensely. I have a feeling I'm probably gonna like the 2nd and 3rd book better when I do read them, and they also come up on this list. But I get it, and I do think it is an amazing book. Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, I get it. To me, that probably was not the best book in the Harry Potter series. I haven't read them in a while, and I was planning to like do a reread and like actually rank them, but then J.K. Rowling just decided to just be a TERF, so I'm not doing that anymore, so I don't really know. But I get it, because, you know, Harry Potter was such a big thing for so long. But then again, like I said, should this be based on the writing of the series? In which case, probably The Half-Blood Prince was better, just because it's later in the series. The Bone Clocks by, I don't know who this is by. I haven't read it. I'm pretty sure this says that it's the same author who wrote Cloud Atlas, which I also haven't read and don't really know anything about, except for I'm pretty sure they made a movie out of that, and then they had a character doing Yellowface. So, The Dark is Rising. I haven't read it. The Princess Bride, I haven't read it, but I get it. This is like another book that I feel like a lot of people read when they were younger and like introduced them to fantasy, so I get it. Get in Trouble, I haven't read it. The Two Towers, I get it, but I also don't get it because like I said, I feel like they should have just made The Lord of the Rings one book because it is one book. It just got split up because it's so freaking long. So I feel like they just took up space with this one. I don't know why they did that. So actually I'm gonna put it, and I don't get it because I feel like it should just be The Lord of the Rings. So I'm mad at time for doing that. Shadow Shaper, I haven't read it. Buried Giant by Kazu Ishiguro. I'm gonna put it and I don't get it. Okay, I haven't read this, but I did look it up on Goodreads when I was doing this. And I remember that this was like his second least popular or least rated book, which obviously Goodreads ratings aren't everything. I know this author more from, I think his most popular, famous work is Never Let Me Go. I know more about that. I just don't get it from that perspective, that I feel like probably more people would say any of his other works would probably be considered his best works, just from looking at the Goodreads ratings and stuff. Eye of the World by Robert Jordan. This is the first book in the Wheel of Time series. So I'm gonna put it and I get it. I haven't read the Wheel of Time series because it is very long. And yeah, but lots of people love it. I get it. Six of Crows, I'm gonna put, I don't get it. I know, surprising, or it's not surprising if you're new here, but basically I love the Six of Crows duology, but I thought Crooked Kingdom was better than Six of Crows. So if I thought Crooked Kingdom was better in the duology, I'm not gonna think Six of Crows is one of the best books, or at least I think Crooked Kingdom should have been on this list instead of Six of Crows, so yes. Ella Enchanted, I read it. I don't remember if I loved it. I'm gonna put it in, I get it. I don't think it hit me that hard, but I get why it's on the list. All the Birds in the Sky, I haven't read it. A Torch Against the Night, I haven't read it. So I'm gonna leave it and I haven't read it because I don't know. An Ember in the Ashes, I haven't read any of the books in the series. Also, Saboteur was on this panel. I do find it very odd that she's only written 4 books and 2 of them were on the 100 best books of all time. So yes, I'm not making a commentary on Saboteur's writing or anything, but I do find it a little interesting. And I'm putting an Ember in the Ashes, and I get it because for me, I feel like first books in the series, usually first books in, you know what, actually I'm changing my mind. I can't come up with an explanation. I'm just gonna put in haven't read it. American Gods, another Neil Gaiman, which once again, he was also on this panel. I do think he's a little overrepresented. Yes, he has written many books, which is fair, but not all of them are the best. And like not all of his books are on this list, but there weren't any other better books from different authors to add to this list. Are you sure? I don't, but American Gods, I agree. I didn't love that book, but I think it was very expansive and it did some very interesting things. So within that, I think it is kind of one of the best. Next we have A Hero Born by Jin Young. I haven't read it. The Changeling by Victor Laval. I also haven't read this. The Stone Sky. I haven't read it. I'm gonna put it in the haven't read it category because yeah, I just haven't read it. I already ranked the 5th season. I know she won an award for all 3 books. So like maybe they're all 3 the best books ever. But on a list like this, I think it's more aligned with like a book awards where you're trying to, or you should be trying to bring notice to other authors. And I did with some of these books, like a lot of these books that I haven't heard of. I go off Goodreads because that's the easiest way to gauge reception. Obviously not everyone in the world uses Goodreads, but a lot of the books that I haven't read or haven't heard of did not have as many ratings on Goodreads as the obviously more popular ones. And so they're bringing them to my eyes, bringing them to other people's eyes, which is good, but I do think they could have done it more. Like, it's just so odd. And other people have already talked about this. I know I'm late to the news, but basically they left off like a bunch of people who are prolific authors, who are very well known for the quality of their writing and everything. So it's just very odd to me that they had so many repeats of authors when they left off completely a bunch of other well-known authors. The Black Tides of Heaven, I also haven't read this. Beast Made of Night, I haven't read it, but a lot of people don't even say that this is Toshio Nobuchi's best work, so I kind of don't get it. Like, I've heard very, very medium things. I've heard really, really good things about Riot Baby, which also falls under fantasy, and medium things about Beast Made of Night. I'm not making commentary on quality because I just said I haven't read it. Also, none of this is really, some of this will be a commentary on quality, but none of this is really a commentary on quality. Just whatever, I don't know. What are we doing here? Why am I here? A Wrinkle in Time by Madeleine L'Engle. I get it, but I don't agree. Like, most of the other ones, I get it. Like, I don't agree, but like, it's not in my heart I don't agree of the ones that I read. This one, I get it, but I just don't agree. I know it's a middle grade. I read it as an adult, so I didn't have that opinion, but also I think if you're going to be a best fantasy of all time, I should be able to read it as an adult and feel like it stands up to me as an adult. I don't think it should require that nostalgia. And I have read middle grade that I didn't read when I was younger and felt like they stood up. Yeah, that did not stand up to me, but I get it because it did so many interesting things for the time that it was written in, and so I get it, but I don't agree. I didn't like it that much. 5 Children and It, I haven't read it. I have never heard of it. The We Free Men. I think this is the 30th book in the Discworld series. I haven't read this either, and so I'm not going to comment on it. I do think it's interesting that the 30th book was chosen rather than any of the other ones, but again, this is like a 40-book series, so eh. Children of Blood and Bone. I agree. That's one of my favorite books of all time, okay? Okay, so the thing is, I love that book so much, but there are flaws. So I'm gonna put it in a, I get it, because I do get it. I get, like, it did so much. I do think it is, for the most part, very well written. There is just something that, I don't know, some people might not enjoy as much, but I love it. Don't get it twisted. I love Children of Blood and Bone. The Poppy War, I haven't read it. I get it, though, because once again, it's doing a lot of interesting things. The 3rd book, I think, comes out this year. I'm not planning to read it for personal reasons. I just don't like grimdark really that much. Next, we have Circe, which I haven't read. I've heard medium things. I'm just gonna put it, I haven't read it. Witchmark, I've also just been hearing about it lately, but I haven't read it. Arusha and the End of Time, haven't read it. Trail of Lightning, I get it. I haven't read it, but from the way people are talking about it, it does do very interesting things. I feel like that's the common thing of the ones that I get but don't really agree with. It does new things, and I do think that that elevates books in lots of people's minds. So how far are we? Okay, we're still going. We Hunt the Flame, I get it, but I've heard medium things about this, but once again, I get it because it does do interesting things from what I've heard. Gods of Jade and Shadow. Once again, this is another book that does interesting things, and yes, I think it does interesting things. Honestly, I'm gonna put this in haven't read it because I don't think I know enough about it to even say that it does interesting things. City of Glass, okay, Girl What? It's the first in the Girl What ranking. Listen, I haven't read it, but I did read the first 2 City of Bones books. If you've been on my channel for any amount of time, you know my feelings about Cassandra Clare books. I don't think that they're good. And even this, City of Glass, from the people who do like Cassandra Clare books, they like her other series better. It seems like to me, from the outside looking in. Obviously, I'm not seeking out and searching for Cassandra Clare, you know, fans to regularly watch, but a lot of people do like the other one, the Clockwork ones, I forgot what they're called, better than this. And also, I know there was no way she came back from City of Ashes to make City of Glass one of the 100 best books of all time. I know it is not possible. No way. I refuse to believe it. I don't think it belongs on this list. I'm sorry. If Cassandra Clare is watching this, girl, what? The Phantom Tollbooth, I get it. I know that this is a book that a lot of people read when they were children. I did not read it, but I know a lot of people did. We have Pet by Akweke Emezi. Once again, I get it. I agree. I think I agree with this one. There was nothing wrong with the book for me. I do think it did all the things a fantasy book needs to do. It did something interesting and new in a way that I don't think a lot of people have seen before, or popular culture, I guess, has seen before. Children of Virtue and Vengeance. Girl, what? Come on. You know my feelings about Children of Virtue and Vengeance if you've been on my channel for a while. I just spent time talking about how much I love Children of Blood and Bone, and Children of Virtue and Vengeance was a disappointment to me. The way everything was written in Children of Blood and Bone, like Children of Virtue and Vengeance doesn't compare. And I don't think that comparing the two books, obviously to me, Children of Blood and Bone is the winner, but also Children of Virtue and Vengeance, I don't think beats out a lot of these books on this list. So I don't know, I feel like they could have replaced it. Tomi Adeyemi was also on this panel, and she's written 2 books and they're both on this list. Like, that doesn't feel right to me. Empire of Sand, I haven't read it. Song of Blood and Stone, I haven't read it, but have I heard things about it? I might read it someday. So Woven in Moonlight, I haven't read it. I don't know enough about it. This also seems like, yeah, it was the newest book because the Time website did the order in order from newest to not newest. In order from oldest to newest. I don't know why I said that like that. Okay, The Dragon Republic, I haven't read it. And yeah, but once again, I just feel like the Poppy War and the Dragon Republic, did they both need to be on this list? I guess there could be the argument that since this is the 100 best fantasy books, like an author who's already written one best fantasy book, probably all of their books rank higher above other fantasy books because they have that skill. But I don't know, there's just so many books in the world, and like I said, I think this probably should have functioned more like how book awards, from my limited knowledge of them, function, where they try and acknowledge lesser known books to help get them publicity and things like that. Jade City by Fonda Lee. BookTube has been going wild over this book, I think, but I don't know enough. I haven't read it. Queen of the Conquered, I don't get it. I haven't read it, but I've heard very medium things about it. So I kind of get it because it does sound like it's doing something interesting and new from what I've heard of the synopsis and reviews and such. But I don't get it because a lot of people didn't like it. But I don't. The Bloody Chamber, I haven't read it. Alatsue, I haven't read it. Black Leopard, Red Wolf, I haven't read it, but I have heard medium things. The Lives of Christopher Chant, I haven't read that. The Wandering Unicorn, I haven't read that. Brown Girl in the Ring by Nella Hopkinson, I haven't read it. And Jerry from Onyx Pages speaks very highly of it, but I haven't read it yet. I do plan to read it. Where the Mountain Meets the Moon, I haven't read it. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, okay. Should it stay and I don't get it? I kind of get it because it is Harry Potter, and I really can't remember the quality of the writing of this to really judge it, but I'm gonna go with I don't get it anyway, be for fun. Just because I think like one Harry Potter book is enough, you know? Ozma of Oz, I'm gonna go with I don't get it. Hear me out. I haven't read it. I have only read a pop-up version of The Wizard of Oz, so keep that in mind as I'm speaking. To me, Ozma of Oz, this is like the last book I think in the Wizard of Oz series, and it was written like a while after the rest of the books were written, and to me that can never be the best book in the series. A book that extends a series that was already finished, no, I don't think that is the best book in the series, much less one of the 100 best books of all time. And also I find it odd, since they're so willing to have repeats of authors, that none of the other Wizard of Oz books made it onto this list. Dragonflight, which I also haven't heard of. A Storm of Swords by George R.R. Martin. I get it. People love Game of Thrones. Even before it was a show, the whole reason it was made into a show was because people loved it so much. So I get it. I haven't read A Song of Ice and Fire. I read A Game of Thrones. I read the first book, but I did not enjoy it. It's not for me. I don't really like grimdark. And he's so long-winded. He talks so much. Ugh. Howl's Moving Castle. Okay. Hold on, I have to scroll. I agree. A book I agree with. I love Howl's Moving Castle. I love the movie, which doesn't have to do with the book technically, but I love the movie. I enjoyed the book a lot. This is middle grade done correctly, where it can read up. Also, a lot of the middle grade that I read in high school. I enjoyed it just the same. So we have the BFG. I did read this, so I get it. But once again, they're so willing to repeat books, except I feel like Roald Dahl should be more present on this list. I mean, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, hello. I loved that when I was younger. Matilda was my favorite Roald Dahl book. But yeah, I just think his other books were also good and maybe better. Don't yell at me. The 100,000 Kingdoms, I haven't read it, but once again, I feel like N.K. Jemisin is a little too represented. Not because she's a bad author, but just to give everyone else a chance. Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. I get it. I haven't read it, but I get it. Everyone talks about it. Everyone loves it. I get it. You know, I just made that whole rant where I was like, Roald Dahl should be more represented. And then what's the next book? A Roald Dahl book, James and the Giant Peach. Which, once again, I get it. That movie scared me, that weird claymation one, or in the middle, they're all like clay. That scared me. I did not like how those insects were, ugh. Anyway, but the book was good. I'm gonna go with I agree. I like James and the Giant Peach better than the EFG. But once again, Matilda should be on the list, I think. Swords Point. I haven't read this. The Return of the King. I haven't read it. Once again, I think they should have combined. Akata Witch by Nnedi Okorafor. I haven't read it. I have heard some things about it, but I don't know. I also think maybe one of her other books belongs on this list more, but that's just me. Watership Down. I get it. This is another book that a lot of people read when they were younger, you know, and loved. I didn't read it when I was younger, but I get it. Swiftly Tilting Planet. I have not read that. Spindies. Also haven't read that. Who Fears Death? Okay, clearly I'm forgetting anything that's happening in this list, because I was like, oh, she should have another book in here, but she did. But once again, I haven't read it. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I get it. Do I agree? Do I think it's the best book? Or in the top 100 best books? I don't know. I did just read the entire series. There's a vlog of that in the cards. But yeah, I did really enjoy The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. But is it the best fantasy book I've ever read? I didn't give it 5 stars. I actually didn't give almost any of these 5 stars. The Voyage of the Dawn Treader. Not Girl What. I just don't get it. Redwall. I don't get it. The Crystal Cave. I don't get it. Or no, I haven't read it. Both those books, I haven't read them. I don't get it. Haroun and the Sea of Stories. I haven't read it. Tuck Everlasting. I'm gonna put in Girl What. I read Tuck Everlasting in 8th grade. I had no idea it was some kind of phenomenon. I thought it was just okay in 8th grade. So I don't know, maybe I was not smart enough to fully understand all the implications or anything. But to me, it was kind of boring. I wasn't super into it. So, The Once and Future King. I haven't read it. The Night Circus. I don't get it. I thought it was a great book. I enjoyed it. But was it in the top 100 best fantasy books ever? No. Not to me. The Palm Wine Drunkard. I haven't read it. Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. Boop, boop, boop. I don't get it. Or I get it. I do get it. Do I agree? I haven't read it, so I don't feel like I can agree. But I do get why Alice's Adventures in Wonderland is in here, because it did so much, like writing-wise. Like Lewis Carroll kind of changed how people wrote things. Not changed how people wrote things, but he was one of the first to be widely seen doing those kind of interesting things with his writing. The Arabian Nights. I haven't read it. I'm probably never gonna read it. I think that thing's like 1,000 pages. And then we have Blanca y Roja, which I haven't read. I did read another of Anna Marie McLemore's books, and I really enjoyed that. I haven't read Blanca y Roja. La Mort de Arthur, which translates to The Death of Arthur, which is another King Arthur retelling. It's his death, I guess. There's 2 on this list, but I just thought that was interesting. I can't tell what book this is, but clearly I haven't read it. The Last Unicorn, I haven't read it. Rage of Dragons, I haven't read it. Through the Looking Glass. Once again, they probably should have just combined Alice in Wonderland, although I do think those are technically separate books, but I feel like they could have just combined and then added a different book. But you know, whatever. So this is my tier ranking. This video is very, very long. Thank you so much for watching. This is the tier. Take a good look. Yes, I haven't read that many books, but I do have opinions on some of them. Was this fun or interesting? Should I have never filmed this? Too late. I put in all this work. It's going up on the channel. Leave a comment with a star emoji for fun. And also let me know what your favorite fantasy book is, or one of your favorites, recent favorite. It doesn't have to be that much pressure. If you agree, disagree with any of the ways that I ranked this list. And also, if you want to, let me know one of the books that I said I haven't read that you think I should read. And yes, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!